The Dark Angels are among the most loyal servants of the Emperor, who stand foremost amongst the Space Marines, mankind's mightiest defenders. Since the founding of their legion, they have been dreaded by their enemies and held in awe by those they protect. Stubborn and relentless in battle, they are ever vigilant in their pursuit of humanity's enemies. Yet it was not always so. For 10 millennia the Dark Angels have harboured a sinister secret, knowledge of an act so terrible that it threatens everything they hold dear and may yet bring them eternal damnation. Though stoic and proud, the Dark Angels are honour-bound to pursue a grim vendetta that they hope will offer them redemption. Hello everybody, this is the first in a series of army showcase videos where I actually talk you through my collections. You may already have seen I've got a couple of videos up set to music showing off basically the entirety of my Imperial and Chaos collections. So check those out if you want to see a huge apocalypse formation of everything. But these videos are intended to be a little bit of a closer look at my different armies, perhaps explaining some of the models and the conversions, the thought process behind creating the armies, and hopefully give you a bit of inspiration for your own army. This is my Dark Angels army. I started collecting Dark Angels purely because I had the Dark Vengeance box set, and obviously that came with Dark Angels models in there. Now, the funny thing is, when I originally got the box set, I used the Chaos models very quickly. I'm a big fan of Chaos, and that was my primary reason for getting the box set. And I actually converted some of the models into regular Space Marines, so I turned the Ravenwing bikes into regular bikes by shaving off a lot of the iconography, and they're in my another of my Space Marine armies that you'll see in another video. However, I didn't know what to do with the tactical squad and the Deathwing. It was obvious that they couldn't be converted. So eventually, after them sitting in a box for a while, I decided, what the hell, I'll paint them up as Dark Angels and we'll go from there. And I have to admit, before I started collecting them, I didn't really know a lot about the Dark Angels and their background. But as ever, once I get collecting, I start to learn more about them and grow to love them, and I really like the Dark Angels now. And as you can see, the collection has grown beyond a single Dark Vengeance box set and actually encompasses multiple Dark Vengeance box sets. You can see I have 2 Ravenwing bike squads, for example, and multiple monopose Deathwing, and expanding to include other models. So let's dive in and have a closer look at some of the models. Here you can see some of the Deathwing Terminator models in my collection. You can see some of the bright blue power swords standing out here in the collection, not just on the Terminators but around the army. I always paint my power swords blue because it helps denote them on the battlefield, and I can say to my opponent, if you see a blue sword, it's a power sword. There's a purple sword on the Librarian there, which you'll see in closer detail later. That's a Force sword. These two squads are very similar. I've put squad markings on the right shoulder pads. The main difference is the sergeants, the second squad behind there, it's actually squad 1 behind, has the original sergeant from the Dark Vengeance box set. And this sergeant here, Cleethor, is a conversion built out of some spare parts I had in my Bix box and a couple of bits I acquired second hand. Here you can see the original Dark Vengeance Sergeant that you've seen many times, who I've called Abdiel. Very enjoyable model to paint, actually, as were all of these Deathwing models. Here you can see my Ravenwing section of the army, and it's very small. Maybe I'll expand it in the future. The two squads are almost identical. They're both from the Dark Vengeance box set again, so I've picked up multiple copies of the Dark Vengeance box set, originally just to get more cultists, for my Chaos collection, but I didn't sniff at the idea of getting more Dark Angels since my army was starting to grow. There are two differences between these two squads. The two bikers at the back with the bolt pistols are identical. although I think one of them maybe has a head in a different position. One of the differences is these two bikers here. You see, one has the original plasma gun and the other has been converted to hold a melter gun. So I have a sort of marine hunting squad and a vehicle hunting squad. And this is complemented by the two sergeants here, who you can see have both been converted, one to have a power sword and one to have a power fist. The original sergeant had a chain sword. So I really like these Raven Wing bikes. They've got a very simple colour scheme. They're quite easy to paint, actually. A bit easier to paint than this venerable dreadnought, who you can see is quite unusual, heavily converted, and has no armour on his lower legs. He lost it in battle. Here's some of the main troops for the army, the tactical squads and scouts. But first let's have a look at this rhino at the back here. As you can see, it has the Forge World Dark Angels doors, which I absolutely love. They really do make the vehicle look, like a proper Dark Angels vehicle. And this is fun. It's one of the first times I've actually painted a rhino and actually tried to make it look codex compliant, shall we say. Over here you can see the original sergeant from the Dark Vengeance set, and on the left here you can see one that I've converted. Same model, I've swapped both arms and changed the backpack and the head, and I think from a distance you barely realise they're the same model. It's one of my favourite things to do, is actually convert duplicate models, to make them varied and also as a bit of a challenge. And here you can see my favourite section of the army, the characters. This is always where I put the most effort into my painting. And this guy here, one of my favourite models in the Warhammer range ever produced, the Interrogator Chaplin. I picked him up at Warhammer World and took him home and built him and painted him straight away because it's such a beautiful model. Absolutely wonderful. I'm very proud of this librarian too. I did some nice blending on his power armour with the blue there and the sword. I really like painting cloaks, so I get very excited when I pick up a model that's got a nice cloak to paint. This model has no cloak. This is an old metal tech marine converted to have a power fist. Quite pleased with that, fitting into the army nicely. And of course Captain Balthazar, again very fun to paint. I love the details on these Dark Vengeance character models. They just provide a lot of interest when you're painting, certainly better than a regular plain captain or space marine in terms of enjoyment. This here is the command squad. These are all conversions apart from the standard bearer. You see this one here with a green stuffed tabard, the sergeant with a thunder hammer and storm shield. I like this head. I think it's got a scar on his face. Again, a conversion with some Forge World Dark Angels shoulder pads. Quite pleased with this one too, with the power axe. Tried to create a little bit of a variety. These are veterans after all, so they should have unique war gear and tabards and loincloths and so on. Here's the standard bearer, very nice standard there. Just behind we also have some interesting converted scouts. So I accidentally bought the that land speeder that comes with scouts. I bought the scouts from it off of eBay, not realising that they were supposed to go on a vehicle, so I had to do quite a lot of work to get them to stand up on a base. Because they're supposed to be sort of crouched on vehicles and stuff. But I think it came up with some interesting poses and an interesting dynamic for the squad. And it certainly was fun to try and turn them into proper models, on proper bases. So I think I've got a unique scout squad there. Here we have the third Deathwing squad. Again, these are all Dark Vengeance models, just some of them have been converted a little bit. For example, this one here has been converted to have a pair of lightning claws. So I did a bit of sawing to take his original arms off. Enjoy painting those lightning claws, they're always fun. And this is the original Dark Vengeance Sergeant, and again a lot of sawing, and I've managed to give him a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, and you can see here compared to the original Sergeant, you can see sort of where the changes have been made. Hopefully you can't really tell that it's been converted if I've done my work properly. I'm pretty pleased with that. I do like the challenge of trying to convert these monopose models into something different. It's quite difficult, again, because of all the sawing you have to do. Behind you can see some more tactical marines and a Devastator squad. Here's the sergeant from the tactical squad. This one was really just sort of cobbled together out of bits that I had laying around. I think it looks pretty cool with Power Fist and the icon on the backpack. This one has been converted to hold a melter gun, so this is one of the Dark Vengeance Marines. None of them come with a melter gun, so I've converted this one. You'll notice if I pick up a model from another squad that the Aquillas on their chest plates are different colours. That's what denotes the different squads in this particular army. So I have gold, red, and another squad has grey. That's for the tactical squads at least. Here is my Sergeant Mirla from the Devastator squad. They're equipped with a combi plasma, using a veteran body for their body. And here's some of the Devastators. The Devastators really just came together because I had various bits and bobs lying around, like missile launchers and some Dark Angel shoulder pads, and I thought, looks like there's enough parts to make a Devastator squad here. It's not really designed with any sort of tactical efficiency in mind. I've got plasma cannon, 3 missile launchers, I think. And they ride in this lovely Razorback. This was kindly given to me by a friend, and I added the Dark Angel's doors to it, and I'm quite pleased with that. And that's what the Devastator squad ride around in, proudly displaying the iconography of their homeworld of Caliban. So that was a rundown of my Dark Angels army. I'm hoping to do more of these in the future with my other armies, so if you're interested in seeing those, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button too while you're at it, and I hope to see you again on my channel. Have a look around the channel, I've got various other kinds of content, and as always, happy gaming!